He first came to national prominence for defending convicted murderer Dr. Sam Shepard and getting his conviction reversed. Through the years, his clients have included Patty Hearst and Johnny Carson. Now his client is Wayne Kreitz, which brings F. Lee Bailey to Arkansas and to our segment 4. Lori Van Kirk is standing by with Mr. Bailey in one of our live-eye units. Lori.
Thank you, Ron. As Jim told you earlier, today's hearing is over. Judge Maker has not made a ruling and will not make a ruling today. And F. Lee Bailey has been meeting with attorneys for the bankrupt grain elevator to try to work out some kind of deal. Mr. Bailey, what kind of deal are you trying to work out?
Well, at the moment, we're not so much trying to work out a deal as trying to find out what the mechanics of the situation are and what the numbers are. Mr. Kreitz is very interested in seeing that no farmer suffer because of the grain that he took. And I'm trying to learn what the farmers would have gotten if no grain had been taken out of the elevator, vis-a-vis what they are going to get in view of the missing grain. That will be the first step.
Once you learn that, then what are you going to do with that knowledge?
Well, then we will seek some solutions. One of the things that occurs to me is that to the extent that the United States government, which holds these defaulted warehouse receipts, is participating, they ought not to. They permitted this whole thing to happen, not on one occasion, but two. And I think they ought to be a stop from asserting their claims until the farmers get everything that's coming to them.
In your opinion, what is the real issue at hand here?
Well, the issue is a little bit obscured. The bankruptcy court is being used as a fulcrum between the Congress of the United States, which is overdue in passing some legislation to prevent farmers from losing out in these bankruptcies, and the farmers themselves. The issue in the bankruptcy court really doesn't leave much release for the court itself to grant. I think the court will try to get the farmers all that it can.
Now, you have defended some pretty famous and some pretty infamous people. Why come here to defend Wayne Kreitz, a Missouri farmer?
Well, the initial answer to that is because they asked me to, and the broader answer is because I think it's well worth the effort. I think they have a good overall cause, and hopefully they will come to the attention of the right people in this election year, and maybe they'll do something about it.
Okay, when are you going to be leaving Little Rock?
Well, nothing busts loose overnight. I'll probably be headed for Iowa in the morning.
And then when will you be back?
Whenever the judge says to be.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Bailey. And back to you, Ron.
Look, could we ask, can you hear me all right?
Yes, I sure can.
I'd like to ask Mr. Bailey, what, if your defense of Mr. Kreitz is successful to the end, what would be the outcome? What would be the changes that you would like to see made? You mentioned you didn't like the federal government's involvement. What changes would you like to see made as a result of this case?
Well, inasmuch as the federal government is putting taxpayers' money up for this grain, I think they ought to protect it a little better against bankruptcies and other proceedings. The bankruptcy court in and of itself can't do all of that. I further think the farmers need something like the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation that protects our deposits in banks. If the bank fails, we get our money back up to a certain limit. And they need that same kind of protection. They simply cannot afford to take a licking because somebody mismanages a grain elevator with their products in it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.